In the story Star Witness, while in Trinidad in the late 1990s, on TV he saw a debate between a Catholic scholar and a Muslim scholar, and they both came to the agreement that the Bible was first, then the Torah, and then the Quran. But they both left out the importance of Ethiopia. Neither of them made mention that the king of Ethiopia is the king of Zion. Listen.
He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah.
Notice he's going to conquer the seeds of Judah, for they have done wicked. In other words, Judaism is deep rooted from ancient Egypt. So where was ancient Egypt? It seems that classical historians and geographers call the whole region from India to Egypt, both countries inclusive, by the name of Ethiopia. That's why Egypt was called the granddaughter of Ethiopia, and Egyptians were referred to as disobedient Ethiopians, because they was the first to start the worship of any and everything. And notice in between Egypt and India, they were simply Ethiopians before they became named as Saudi Arabians or renamed by the Arabs. At first, they were all Ethiopians. But during the translation, they forgot the most important
came
part.
to a land where there were other people living. But this land was promised to the Jewish nation by God.
Notice she was placed in a land that was promised by God. I guess during their translation also, they forgot where they were going. For it is clearly written in 2 Kings, verse 21, because Manasseh, king of Judah, have done these abominations in Jerusalem. Therefore thus said the Lord God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, because they have done which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even on to this day. On to this day. And who is going to do it? Therefore the Lord God of Israel. And who is that? For the Lord hath chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure. In other words, Israel is just another name for God. It's not a land. So let's read an excerpt from Star Witness. Amos 1 verses 2 to 15 makes it clear what is going to happen to those newly formed countries that sold the Ethiopians that were the original inhabitants of the land. Out of Zion he will roar, and out of Jerusalem he will give forth his voice, and the pasture grounds of the shepherds must go to mourning, and the summit of Carmel, which is just a mountain in what they renamed as Israel, must dry up. This is what Jehovah has said, on account of 3 revolts of Damascus, and on account of 4 I shall not turn it back on account of threshing Gilead, even with iron threshing instruments. And I will send a fire unto the house of Hazael, and I must devour the dwelling towers of Benhadad, which is the Syrian kings. And I will break the bar of Damascus, which is in Syria, and cut off the inhabitant of Bethaven, and the holder of the scepter from Beth-eden. And the people of Syria will have to go as exiles to Kir, which is Assyria, which is part of Iraq and Syria. Jehovah has said, this is what Jehovah has sinned again and again. Gaza has sinned again and again, and I will not forget it. I will not leave her unpunished anymore, for she sent my people into exile, the whole captivity, selling them as slaves in Edom. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which is now Palestine, which shall devour their palaces, or dwelling towers thereof. And I will cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, which is close to Jerusalem, in the land that they renamed as Israel in 1948. And him that holdeth the scepter of Ashkelon I will turn aside my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish, said the Lord. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, which is Lebanon and Tyre, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity of Edom. In other words, they was just enslaving the Ethiopians, which shall devour the dwelling places of dwelling towers. Thus said the Lord. So he's going to hit Jordan with a whirlwind. because they have done evil in the sight of the Lord since the days their fathers came forth out of Egypt. So who built Jerusalem?
Go ask Aristotle and go ask Plato who built Jerusalem. Go ask Herodotus and Diodorus who built Jerusalem. Go ask Pliny and Plutarch who built Jerusalem. Go ask Aristophanes and Diogenes who built Jerusalem. Israel, Ethiopian built Jerusalem.
Because it was Ethiopian land. So of course they're going to build Jerusalem. It was their land. So now you see what happened.
There was no such thing as a Middle East, even a term Middle East, until the 1850s. There was a man-made canal, man-made waterway called the Suez Canal that was built that separated what we now call the Middle East from Northeast Africa. All of that land mass was all considered Northeast Africa.
Why? Because the whole region from India to Egypt was Ethiopia. Egypt to India. Including Saudi Arabia.
Yes, black Muslims still believe that Arab Muslims, Saudi Arabia should be the one to tell you how Muslim religion should be run. But those are same people using your female, your sisters as a toy, as a sex toy. Saudi Arabia is using your sisters as a sex toy, using them as a dogs, using them as those kind of slave. Come on, there are things that happen in Saudi Arabia. If you did that to any Arab woman in any black African country, that country will be doomed.
Dubai and Saudi Arabia are being completely flooded out right now. Well, if you didn't, let me show you what's happening. This is how Dubai looks right now. It is completely flooded out, and it has been happening for multiple weeks. As you can see, there has been non-stop water pouring into Dubai. Now, Dubai is funded by a lot of very, very rich people. Very rich. But this is catastrophic. And if you think this is bad, just wait. This is Saudi Arabia. Look how bad this is. This is literally an ocean of water pouring into Saudi Arabia.
Jaga.
There is